On today's episode of the Bubs and Teabag Show, just two bros talking everyday normal stuff.
Now that I'm getting up there in years, I can't do it as much as I used to with this spicy shit. And if I ate that stuff, if I even ate the medium, the next day I would have my period. Let's put it that way.
I have an uncle out in California. He was a dentist. He's 87.
Bubs stumbles into a new Florida ecosystem.
Right? You want to fuck chickens? Go fuck chickens.
I'm going to disagree and say that, don't do that. I would say don't do that. But
well,
yes,
the chicken must consent.
Teabag misunderstands what Nashville hot really is.
Did you shave chest or anything like
that?
that?
No, I don't do that shit.
No?
I told you, you referred to me as a bear. I'm a cub.
The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. Spread the word around.
Back.
We should do a version of The Boys Are Back in Town, baby.
The sweet, sweet licks of Ace. Sounding great to the ears again.
Goosebumps.
Good to see you back, buddy.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, back to the Bubs and Teabag Show. It's 2024, and we're back, and Bubs is back in full effect after his time abroad. Is it true what I heard? Is it confirmed you were in a Turkish prison for a small amount of time?
It's expensive to get out of those things.
No shit.
Yeah.
Hire international lawyers and things like that.
It is. The house has been remortgaged.
The Red Cross and
the Red Crescent over there.
Did anyone from the State Department step in to at least offer an olive branch or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. The consulate. A member of the consulate came over. Ironically, it was the same one I met in Mexico 30 years ago.
Dear Lord. That was, from what I remember, from all the stories I've heard, a very close call for you.
Yeah.
As well as one of your eyes.
Yeah. Well, don't be too drunk to duck.
Yeah. So good to see you back. We haven't had a show out here in a little while, close to probably 3 months, but thanks for joining us again, everybody. Hope you missed us. So anyways, where the hell were you for real? I mean, what's up? Give the listeners a bit of an insight.
Well, the old lady and I traveled through 14 states, spent the majority of the time in the Florida area. As you know, I met with some investors who want to move the show down to Florida.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So we're not going to close down. We'll probably just relocate.
Do they know I'm stuck in communist Minnesota until probably, what is it? Today's 2024. Yeah.
Well, we're looking at an
2034.
An investment group. You're willing to move where the money is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If the money's good enough, I'm there.
Yeah.
Always.
And then I met with the reps of Full Force Condoms. It's funny. It's a mom and pop type place.
An up and coming prophylactic business.
But they don't have any kids.
That's actually a good selling point, probably, if you're making rubbers.
But it's nice, good facility. A little
clean.
Clean. Oh yeah, clean.
It looks like you got little things here. You brought some Danish today. We got Costco Danish, which is one of my favorite things in the entire world. McDonald's coffee.
We had to restock when we got back.
Yeah.
To the homestead.
Sure.
And I brought you a sack of some gifts.
Let me look at this. This is a paper bag. This is from Sarasota, Florida. Let me look into this bag here. Okay, we got some goodies. Nice. Oh, yeah. Now this is... We're going to have to take a picture of this one. I've got a new coffee mug. It's a large-handled coffee mug, and it's got the cast of the Golden Girls on the front of it.
Yes.
And B. Arthur, I must say, is looking
striking.
Quite sultry. Yeah. Keep calm and eat cheesecake. Is that like a Golden Girls reference or something?
It must be.
Yeah.
Well, you came at me a couple times over the last year of shows about the Golden Girls.
I love the Golden Girls.
And so I walked by that twice on two separate occasions. I had to buy it.
Who is it for you? It's Rue. You're Rue McClanahan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Rue.
That's right.
Let me look and see what else we got in here in this bag of goodies. Please bear with us, everyone, while we look.
This one's more of a personal one for you.
We haven't been reunited in a while here.
It has been a minute. And while you rip feverishly at the paper like it's Christmas when you're 9, it's well wrapped.
It is?
Yeah, and secure.
Oh.
Which apartment is?
Listen, so this is another coffee mug and a nice big pair of boobs on it. Siesta Key, Florida. Now, there's a friend of mine. She's a bartender in an adult establishment. Let's put it that way. She has a cup just like this except it says Miami Beach on it. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I can even show you a picture of it, I think. But
Well, it's a boob mug, but the breasts are exposed.
This is great. This is going to go.
They're
hang on a second.
highlighted by a tan.
Yeah, it's a nice tan line, like a 1986 like girl in Playboy type thing.
Yeah.
Hang on a second while I put this on our knick-knack shelf.
Yes, place that strategically. Oh, yeah. And it fits a full beer.
That's excellent. Thank you for those gifts, Bubs. I got a little something for you, too, as well.
Oh.
I gave it to you a little earlier, but a nice whiskey of sorts that is made in the Far East, the Orient, as they say.
It is the
Never
Orient.
tried it before, but I think it's some type of a Suntory whiskey, I think. And that's going to come out later.
Konnichiwa.
For those of you that don't know, Bubs is 54 years young today.
Today. Right today.
Right today.
Happy Pie Day.
Happy birthday, Bubs.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Feeling young. I'm tan and rested.
Yeah, you are tan.
This body has not been this tan since 1995.
Nice.
Yeah.
Were you soaking it up like a lot every day type deal?
Yeah. Every day I could.
Good for you, man.
Yeah. I could feel the vitamin D.
What was your favorite like beaches to go to down there?
I really liked the Venice area. There's like 3 or 4 beaches in that area. You can go shark toothing there. You can go toothing, as I call it.
Like in the sand?
Yeah, go in the surf, dig around.
Just finding them?
Yep. You could even, if you're lucky, get a megalodon fossil.
How often do you think that happens? I mean,
It happens on a pretty regular basis
like
there.
once every couple weeks or something? Somebody finds like a big old shark tooth?
Yep.
That's got to be pretty cool.
It was addicting. It was like I started getting tooth fever.
You were getting into it.
Yeah.
You ever see those guys with metal detectors on the beach?
Oh, yeah, I was teased.
Did you used to metal detect?
No, we have one at home. I didn't bring it, but
Right.
that's what people were teasing me, that if I move down there, let's say, or retire there, or winter again there, I will be the guy
I could see
with
you-
the dark socks at 6 a.m.
I could see you with a metal detector.
Sure.
Totally. I bet it's kind of fun though if you dig up an old antique or something, or
Somebody's lost necklace, I'm sure.
horseshoe.
Rings. Yeah.
the heart of the ocean.
I did think of you quite a bit down there.
I bet you did.
I bought a hat, an ugly, horrible hat, kind of with the brim around the whole thing, and it's one of those floppy ones. I bought it in a gas station somewhere in the mid-state of Florida for $8. It was like the one from Caddyshack, except ugly.
Oh, like a free bowl of soup type hat.
Yeah.
A Judge Smales.
It looks good on you, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. My wife instantly was shaking her head when I walked out with it.
That's a no-go, huh?
But apparently this hat brings a fella to a scene.
Oh, one of those hats.
Well, I don't know if it's one of those hats,
It's
but
a
apparently
it's a signal type thing?
well, what's that? Divining rod, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a divining hat for scenes.
Gotcha. You mentioned this to me once, and just for everyone listening, we are here today in the basement, the very classy basement of the Ponderosa Studios. One of our last shows on, we had the mathlete on, and she remarked how classy the basement was. And it is still classy, but it's changed a little bit. We got a couple new flags up here. I don't know if you noticed that. There's one right there.
Yeah.
The You Betcha Minnesota Midwest is the best flag. That's from our buddy Larry.
Nice.
And then the American Farmer gave us this flag here. Now, this is kind of an inside joke, the sad frog there. Yeah.
Well, we know what that is.
Yeah, that's according to self sort of identified hate websites. That's like a KKK flag, basically.
Well, it's
So,
not.
It isn't. You're right.
You know what
The other thing I was going to say, though, is right here on the wall. I don't know if you noticed this. What I was going to segue into is there's a postcard on the wall.
Yes.
Right up there next to the Honcho T-shirt. You
Speaking of scenes.
mentioned a scene. Now, is that from the scene? Is that Deerfield Beach, I believe it's called?
No.
That's not a scene?
No. Well, I'm sure they have a scene. I mean, we stumbled across Martin Luther King Boulevard, if you know what I mean there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And our hotel is somewhat close to that.
What did you do at that point besides hit the gas?
Yep. Said hi to Ashy Larry and
Yeah.
all the smack addicts and
Taking my dice and leaving.
yeah. You're cheating.
Where'd you locate the scene with the hat? Was it
I
like the
have
type
three
of thing
scenes,
where
3 scenes.
it's wearing a bandana into a bar like in that one movie we're a fan of?
You could be.
Okay.
I don't even think it's that. It's downtown Fort Myers. There's various bars with different themes. Like an Italian place. There's a taco cantina. There's American cuisine. I think one person owns like 6 bars down there.
Sure.
Anyway, my wife and a friend, we go to this bar just to literally get some food and have a couple cocktails. Immediately walk in, and there's a very large-breasted female, huge. I mean, tank top, big boobs. That's the first thing you see when you walk in.
That's nice.
Bartender, big eyelashes, big hair.
How old is she about? Like, she still got it together?
Yeah, 28, 30.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
been
Sure.
probably worked in bars for a while. Short shorts, nice legs, right?
Yeah.
Well, we get in a little closer. I spot it right away.
Sure.
That's a feller.
Oh,
dear.
yeah. No kidding.
Yeah,
huh?
but those are real boobs. Them boobs are real, like your coffee mug.
When you say real, I mean like
Surgically.
surgically. Yes, it was a man who basically put boobs on.
Yes.
A silicone operation or
But
something.
if it was
that.
11:30 at night and you've had several beers,
you wouldn't have known.
you would be probably making out with it.
How confident are you that this person was sporting a Johnson?
99.9%.
No doubt.
I don't know where that person was in their journey.
You don't know if they had been quote unquote bottom surgeryed yet?
No, I don't
Okay.
know. This was a professional bartender, though, and it worked the room.
Yep.
And there were some East Coast people there, like, trying to flirt with it.
Yeah.
And it was flirting right back, and it was fun to watch. And I kept trying to bring it in close. And
Yeah.
I was ordering shot. And then I started talking with it, like, what do you recommend?
Yeah.
Well, here you go.
No way, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
up until the voice, it was passing.
Well, the voice started to happen a little bit later. Yeah. And so now my wife and my friend are laughing and teasing me because I was like trying to get it over and I wanted to get a picture with it. And it doesn't. We went back twice to that establishment on separate occasions.
Yep.
Doesn't work on Fridays.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. This was like a Wednesday.
Okay,
Okay. With my story about the scene, the following week,
go.
my wife and I are in the Venice Beach area. There's a couple of these beaches that are more remote, further south, a couple miles. So we drove down there, parked, and then we spoke with some people. And they're like, yeah, you want to walk about a mile down, you look for these things in the beach, and then start digging. You have these special tools or whatever. I bought one. And so the wife goes, I'm going to camp here, set up, and you go down there. So I walked 20 minutes. All the groups of people, who've fallen off, and there's no longer anybody walking down there. Walk down. Hey, there's a guy sitting in the wood line.
Oh, in the woods, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And
But he's on the beach, kind of, and he's facing into the woods.
Is he looking? Is he doing some gandering?
He's in the woods, though. He's facing into the woods. So I'm thinking, I don't even think about it. I just like, well, he's trying to stay out of the sun because the sun was pretty intense.
Gotcha.
So he's, you kind of change your position based on how you're burning anyway. And then about 20 minutes later, as I set up my little area, 50 yards from this dude, not really thinking about it, found an area that they talked about. Here comes Bruce and Larry,
Okay.
67 years old,
Yeah.
fit,
Sure. Nude?
ass floss, and
Really?
and a banana, literally a banana hammock.
That's it, huh?
Carrying their chairs. And they step in about 2 feet into the woods and set up shop
Yeah.
close to me.
Okay.
And they're so now I know what's going on.
Do you think they're
I know what's
are
going
they
on.
are
now.
they sizing you up? Are they giving you a nice once over?
No, they knew.
Are
They looked at me like breeder.
Yeah, they did, huh?
Yeah, and they're not tubby chasers.
That's I was going to say, some guys, you got that nice mustache. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You got that powerful build.
Yeah,
You'd
but I
be-
also have a skinhead.
You'd be what's considered, I think, in their world that's a bear,
Oh,
isn't it?
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be maybe a cub. I don't
Yeah,
know.
a cub.
Yeah.
A cub. Cub.
Anyway, all right. So I realized there's something going on at this place.
Yeah. Just for everyone listening, what you mean by when you say there's something going on is we're talking about
Adult men,
two
engaging
guys
in sex.
engaging in sex in public.
Yes.
Yeah, at a
Yes.
public beach.
So I don't know. I'm digging around. I'm shark tooth, and it's an addiction. And I'm
It's
finding teeth.
it's a lifestyle.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I'm finding teeth. And I'm fucking fired up. And I'm
Yeah.
putting them in a little jar and all this stuff. And I'm the tourist guy there. And all of a sudden, here comes a fit out of the wood line. A dude, probably 25, ripped, 6'1", dark hair, ripped, tan, no tan lines. And I can testify in court that this guy has no tan lines.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And he comes out of the woods and looks up and down the beach, butt naked, dick swinging, looks at me, looks down at Ace and Gary and fucking Larry down there, and then walks back into the woods.
Okay.
And then periodically, I'm like, fuck, I can't go anywhere. And
Yeah.
I see his body and his torso back and forth 30 yards in the jungle. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not woods. It's not like
Yeah.
up here. It's kind of jungly. And there's some trails that apparently there's some beaten down trails. About an hour into it, I said, fuck it. I'm going to go up and look, right? 'Cause,
Yeah. You decided the curiosity got the best of you.
yeah,
Huh?
and there's motherfuckers swishing back and forth on this beach.
Oh, dear.
And then I see a dude in the woods, like 50 yards in, laying on a towel, fat. Like, I'm heavy, but this fucker was fat, laying on his back, belly up. Then the first dude I saw, this is about 2 hours into it, he stands up, right? The guy that I told you about, sitting in the chair. He turns around and faces me. He's wearing only a T-shirt.
How far
little
away?
map.
How far away are you from him?
He's probably 40 yards, 30 yards. So it's close.
Yeah, archery distance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of arrows,
Yeah.
his little member was hanging out the bottom of his shirt, just dangling there.
And you're thinking of moving down to this place. It sounds like, huh?
Not exactly there, but that's where the teeth are.
I guess so, huh?
Well, you know, I mean, they got to have their beach, right?
A lot of shark teeth.
Yeah,
down
a lot of shark
Yeah.
teeth. Yeah, use your teeth. And then an old woman.
What was this beach called again?
This one was Cass.
I'm just for out of curiosity.
Sure,
You'll
yeah.
see me scribbling like mad over here, but
Yeah.
yes, this means
I
nothing.
can point to it on a map.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's south of Venice. I'm packing up stuff. I got probably 30 teeth, you know, and I'm burnt as fuck. And I've been down here amongst these fuckers. So I start walking back. I walk past dude in chair, and there's a woman who's probably 70 talking to her. She's toothing, and I go, hey, you find any teeth yet? And she's like, oh, yeah. And she has got a thick southern drawl. And I go, well, I'm out. She goes, don't leave me down here, darling. And I go, stay out of the wood line. She
Yeah.
goes, oh, I know. I'm watching them. And I go, you got nothing to worry about. I've been down here for 2 hours, honey. And she just laughed, and I walked away.
Well, that's a hell of an experience, brother.
Third scene, the next week. So this is 3 weeks in a row. Boom,
Same
boom.
beach.
No,
Different one.
no, this isn't. So there's all these preserves you can walk around in,
Yeah.
and we found one that was phenomenal. It was like a boardwalk throughout, and it had like 3 mile loops. So the amount of work that went in to build this place, really nice. Cypress something preserve, peaceful. It was like out of Star Wars. It was weird. We found another one called the Wild Turkey Preserve.
Oh, dear.
You know, whatever. And it was
Couple of-
5 miles from where we were staying. So my wife and I would decide to go for a walk. Let's go hike through the preserve, see if we see any cool stuff, you know, animals.
Saw a few gizzards hanging.
So we pull into the parking lot. There's about 5 cars. It's 2 in the afternoon. Don't
Yeah.
think much of it.
Yeah.
There's a dude sitting at a picnic table on his phone. All right, no big deal. Walk down about 50 yards into the path, and here's a Filipino, ripped, tight shirt, just swishing, like walking 30 yards, coming back, looks at us, looks back, goes up by the parking lot, comes down, and I instantly go to my wife, this is fucking homo hangout. This is a place where they engage in acts.
Yeah, publicly.
Yeah. So she's like, we can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, no.
So then we walk down the path. There's a guy who's like in some kind of athletic little outfit, not really, whatever. And then there's like 2 dudes who are in like Dockers and business attire, casual business attire, who are just kind of, you can see that they want to talk, but then they see us.
Sure.
And then out in the distance, 100 yards away, it's like whack-a-mole.
Really?
We had a different name for it,
Yeah.
but
Guys just popping up and out of the weeds
out
and
of the
things
weeds.
like that?
Yeah. In the
Yeah.
back and forth, you're like, God damn. So
Wow.
we cut our hike short due to the, I don't know, despicable acts that
Yeah.
we were going to
Depravity
encounter.
and degeneracy.
Yes. I didn't want to get any on my shoes.
Yeah.
So then we leave, and the wife instantly pulls this place up. First thing. Great place to hike, but...
Great place to hike, but
speaking of butts...
are there any places where straight folks just take off their clothes down there and screw each other in public?
I didn't notice any. I wish I would have, but maybe you don't want to see those people screwing.
Maybe those guys keep it to their house. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Or get a hotel.
Or something like
stay
that.
to a car.
Or maybe like, hey, we're on the beach, but I'm positive nobody's seeing us right now type thing.
Yeah, and it's a romantic interlude. Okay, yeah, but it's not a scene that you go look at
It's
online. And then,
a lifestyle. Well, God bless you for that.
so I'm just reporting back to you.
It's good to know those things.
And I can narrow those down
Yeah.
on a map for
Yeah.
you later.
You got. We're going to talk a lot more here about Florida, as well as Nashville.
Oh yeah,
He had some experiences there too with actually who's now a mutual friend of both I and Bubs, Tennessee Mike. We'll have some good Tennessee Mike stories, as well as some Nashville stories. You can tell us about Nashville too, because I haven't been there for a while and I've never actually overnighted there. But I've heard it's a great time.
I was honky tonking in full.
Line dancing?
I never line dance.
I think Tennessee Mike does a little line dancing sometimes.
I think it's a way to pick up ladies.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like that's not at all uncommon for dudes to go out line dancing with the intention of, hey, let's go meet some women.
Yeah, I agree.
How's the food down there? Pretty good?
He I spoke with the bartender at 9 a.m. after I had my beer for breakfast.
You're
and barbecue chips and a shot of Beam.
Some Nashville hots.
I set the pace for the wife. She knew what was happening.
The breakfast of champions.
Live music.
Yeah.
People just belting it out, playing.
Great.
And great music, great musicians everywhere you went.
How are the dive bars? Did you see any?
Yeah, we went in. That was the first place we walked into. It was a dive bar.
Those are the best.
Drawn to it like a magnet.
Yeah, me too.
Good music, nice people.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we found a barbecue joint for lunch.
Yeah.
And that's where we met Nashville Mike.
Yeah, so
he showed up.
We're gonna
Nashville was on the way out of Florida for
Yeah.
us, and we spent some time in Tennessee, about 4 or 5 days.
Sure. And
Can I just say one thing
Go
about
ahead.
Florida?
yeah.
So I've had the same dog for 11 years.
Okay.
He's 12 years old. We got him from somebody else. His name's Linus.
Yeah.
Great dog, black lab, golden mix. Best dog I've ever owned in my life. Linus has a secret.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it?
Linus has a secret that I did not know. So we have a backyard that's fenced in, and then twice a week you go out and pick up dog crap. For years, I never had to do it because I would make the kids go pick up dog crap.
Yeah.
Right? Shit details. But now they're gone, so I'm in charge of the shit detail. Linus, because of this trip, we had to walk him all the time, right? Right away in the morning.
Yeah. Get him his exercise.
Get him his exercise, let him have his morning or evening constitution. Well, maybe about 3 days into the trip, Linus has a shit boner.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's taking a shit, and the little lipstick comes out and is full on hard on. And I'm looking at him like, wow, buddy. The hell?
Why do you think he has that? Is it just the Florida sun?
No, I don't know what's going on.
Maybe it was the cruisy atmosphere.
Well,
down
we
there.
stopped off in Oklahoma first to visit the professor.
Yeah.
And then we worked our way to northern Florida. But it was in Florida, so it was a few days into the trip. And then
a hidden talent.
And it was every shit he took.
Wow.
While I started
Does
keeping
that
track.
happen? Does that happen back in the Great North or no?
I don't know.
Haven't been observing lately.
No.
Well, I'm glad.
So shit.
He's got a hidden talent. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple times where
it's got to be uncomfortable. I wouldn't like that.
Well, there was a couple times where it was bouncing off. I don't know if it's his withers or his elbow or whatever off his front leg. And I'm like, wow, buddy, get down on it.
Holy smokes, yeah.
So the dog revealed his secret on the
packing
trip.
heat too. It sounds like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's good. Glad we got that story out. We got a lot of great Florida stories here so far. I'm impressed.
Shit boners.
Shark toothing, cruising, shit boners, all kinds of stuff. We're also going to get into, like we said, some Tennessee Mike talk. We actually have a couple of guests that are going to stop by. They got a hold of me short notice. They're big fans of the show. Josh and Jesse, these guys are basically like pro dart players.
Nice.
They're going to stop by, sit down with us for a little while. Then we got Big Red, our resident sort of Generation Z diesel mechanics expert. We're going to talk to him about some stuff.
Another guy that I brought to the table that's a Gen Zer that's
great dude.
That are self-sufficient and thinkers.
Smart guy, so we're looking forward to that. And then I got to bring up, too, this movie that I watched really late last night.
All right, go into it.
So, number one, Gary, who's, a fan of the show, he's like Mr. Entertainment kind of. If there's like a TV show or a movie or a video game or something that's out, this guy's going to know about it. And I kind of used to know about stuff like that too, but I don't know. Over the last few years, I've really soured on the entertainment industry. I think it's just kind of bread and circus bullshit.
Well, it's programming. Unless you find something foreign or independent done.
Now, having said that, it doesn't mean that sometimes it's not still entertaining.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
And the place where we differ is I'm not as willing to give these pieces of media my attention as much anymore. It's kind of for me like a, fool me once type thing. Well, for me, it's more, fool me 16 or 17 times is where I was at. Now I finally kind of went, whatever. I'm not going to do it.
Can't get fooled again.
You can't get fooled again.
Mm-hmm.
Gary had brought up to me several times this movie called Hereditary. It probably is about 4 or 5 years old now. I don't know, 5, 6, something like that.
Is it sci-fi horror type?
Yeah, a little bit. And let's just say, okay, so the people that are in it that you would recognize, there's a girl named Toni Collette. She's in it. There's also a guy by the name of Gabriel Byrne.
Oh, yeah.
So Toni Collette she was the mom in the movie The Sixth Sense.
Yep.
And Gabriel Byrne played a really good role in the movie Usual Suspects.
Yep.
Yeah. So for the most part, it's Gabriel Byrne and Toni Collette.
No,
And
Gabriel Byrne was Miller's Crossing, correct?
yeah, I believe so.
That's where I first remember
I think
him from.
I think he's by nationality. I think he's Irish.
Good man.
And they're both in it, but the other people are like there's some high school as well as like a little bit younger age kids. And I just got to say this. I didn't know what I was getting into going into this. I saw some people talking about it online and mentioning how messed up it was, and they weren't lying. This movie was extremely unsettling, almost too unsettling, and a bit of a twist ending in a way. But by the time the twist hits you, you're already so messed up from what you've seen that it's just bizarre. It's kind of like, I guess I'll give you a brief synopsis. It's a girl kind of gets killed in an accident, and the family starts to kind of spiral down after that, and a seance at some point is performed, and this family finds out that I guess their family has been kind of involved in a whole lot of weird occult type stuff. I'll just leave it at that. But it's shot beautifully. They use a lot of miniatures in the movie because Toni Collette's character is like a professional model maker. Like she makes miniature houses for like art. I really have a hard time describing this movie other than it's one of the more messed up movies I've seen in recent memory. And I mean, it's like Exorcist level kind of scariness in it at some point. And I wouldn't say that about a lot of movies. So,
well, does it have like an occultish feel if they're using seances, right?
Towards the end,
Demonic something and things.
Yeah, but you don't necessarily pick up on it.
Yeah.
They leave. It's one of those deals where after the movie's over,
you realize
you look at it and you go, "Oh dear,
yeah,
that was happening then." Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Kind of artsy in the way it looks and things like that, but I don't think that's a bad thing. The house that a lot of it was shot in was really interesting to look at. But
was it in Amity?
No, I don't know where it actually took place. I can't remember exactly. But it was kind of like this cabin in the woods type thing, except it's like a nice house. Anyways, Hereditary.
Do you recommend it?
I do. And watch it at night. If you're like me, you watch it alone and you have a little bit of trouble going to sleep. And then a few hours later, you do your podcast. So if I'm a little out of sorts about that one, that's why, brother. I know you haven't seen it, but it might be worth a look. And then I think another movie that we need to watch one of these days after your Florida excursion is Cruising.
Oh, no, I'm not watching. I've seen that. I'm never going back to that movie.
I mean, it sounds like it needs to be watched at this point. You know what I mean?
If anything, I'm going to watch reruns of Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great movie or a great series for its era. It was basically the first TV series that kind of showed that, hey, these can be as well made as movies.
So we watched a movie while away in Florida.
Which one?
Sitting around, just had nothing to do at night. The Brawl in Cell Block 99. Did you ever see that?
Is this the one with Vince Vaughn?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's like a purposefully done B movie.
Yeah, and it's really, really violent.
Well, it was made by the same guy, I guess, that did that Tomahawk Bone.
Bone Tomahawk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes more violent as the movie progresses and more unsettling.
Yeah, and more kind of just like in your face with weird shit.
Yeah, and it was even the special effects were B level.
Yep. Yeah, but they're making it kind of look like that.
Yeah. But that movie we sat and I was like, why in the fuck did you start this movie?
Did you like it though after it was all said and done?
I liked probably about 80% of it. Then the ending just was dumb. But Don Johnson's in it. Speaking of Miami Vice,
really,
he's the warden.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that man. I saw it like a little bit. It was either during COVID or before COVID.
Yeah. I'd never even heard of it and then
I
we
kind of
just
had it on,
watched it.
like I had to watch it in like 3 different segments. It was like on and off type thing, but I should watch that one again.
Yeah, Don Johnson,
Yeah.
Miami Vice reference. That made me think of that.
Don Johnson in Miami Vice as Sonny Crockett with his,
Tubbs.
man, those white suits with the rolled up sleeves.
Yeah, it was a look. How many people
iconic.
copied that? In the
Boy,
pastel
I'm
colors.
betting a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
there's an episode of The Sopranos in season 5 where a bunch of the old guys who went to prison in the 80s or early 90s for mob stuff, they get released
That's
like
what they're
20
wearing.
years later.
They're wearing stuff like that.
And Steve Buscemi shows up to his like, hey, welcome back from prison party.
Yeah.
And he's wearing the clothes he went into prison with. And it's a white Don Johnson suit with a fucking pink pastel T-shirt underneath.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's a good look.
I think in the movie The Wedding Singer, the one guy used to wear that too.
Well, the asshole boyfriend.
Yeah, he Glenn Goulia.
Glenn,
And
yeah.
one point he pulls up in his DeLorean, and I think the Miami Vice theme song was even blasting or something like that.
You know, that my parents had a DeLorean. There was a guy that had a DeLorean 2 blocks from my parents.
Back in the day when a DeLorean was like crazy.
Well, I remember looking at him at Key Cadillac over in Edina.
I
Walking
think
through
they're
them.
still around, but you can't
They're-
really touch one now if it's in workable shape for like less than 50 or 60K.
Probably. But they're interesting.
Yeah, I don't think
Stainless
they're all
steel.
that great.
The John DeLorean story is interesting.
he
They
really
went
is.
after him, man.
Yeah,
They framed him, went after
yeah.
him. Big.
Drug guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't
They
want
w-
him sticking around.
No,
Yeah,
they went after him, didn't they? Anyway, that's a whole different show.
yeah. But
All right. So what do we got going?
I
here?
wanted to say to our 2 buddies here, Josh and Jesse, who they've been listening for a while, and they're here as guests today, learned guests in the basement here at the studio. We were talking about how these guys are like dart pros. I mean, not pros, but they can throw some serious darts. I'm in a dart league with these guys on Tuesdays. And, dude, where do you guys learn that shit from? Seriously. Yeah, you want to come up here? Come on up. Say something. Hey, Josh.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, man? Hey, welcome, by the way. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Hey, if you were talking to someone who's new to darts, what do you got to invest if you're new to darts, introductory wise? Like $100 here, 150? What do you think?
Get yourself a good set of darts, man. $100.
Is there a store around here or anything like that you could think of?
Oh yeah. Well, you go to Total Rec in St. Cloud. That's a good place.
Yeah.
Or Docks down in what's that? Fridley, Spring Lake Park.
Any recommendations for up and coming dart people out there? I mean, what's your secret, brother? Stance? I mean, is it throw? Is it amount of beers you drink beforehand? Is it?
The beers definitely help. No, man, you just throw it the same way, man. It's just like throwing a baseball.
Yeah?
Just try to get your release right.
How are you guys sitting in terms of standings on Tuesday nights? You first place?
We got second. So,
Second place?
yeah.
For now.
Well, it's over now. We got to do the tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
Monday League, we didn't do very good.
Bummer,
I think we're in
man.
4th place.
What's up, Jess? How you doing, brother?
I'm all not too bad. How are you doing?
Hey, man, you got any advice for up-and-coming dart people? Is there a magic sort of, formula to winning like you guys are known to do?
I don't know if there's any sort of formula. I think sometimes I kind of play to my competition.
Yeah.
Seems like I'll step it up if a team's doing better.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, there's nights that they just come out good and you're hitting what you want to hit, and there's nights that you're not gonna have a good night every night. That's for sure.
What's the name of your guys' team again?
We are the Horny Old Men.
Yeah,
And
right.
That was a team name that was chosen for us.
Yeah.
So, but we stuck with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, when it works, right, brother? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, all I got to say is really glad you guys came by today to watch and have a few laughs with us, and I'm definitely looking forward to Tuesday, and I hope you guys can really show up during that tournament. Me and my partner, on the other hand, Team Magnum XXL, we're gonna try to limp our way to the finish line. We still got a lot to learn.
I think I noticed that didn't your partner get most improved
She
player
is.
in one of the
Yeah,
again
she's
last
had some
week?
good nights in her early career, and not only that, I got to say this to Christy. I think you guys witnessed it. I don't know if you were there that night. She hit 3 triple 20s in one round.
Oh yeah, the high or 1080. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
Right. So I mean, I'm not a huge dart player, but I guess that really hardly ever happens.
Yeah, I think that's that's probably the most points you can score too.
I think it
in
is.
a
Yeah,
round, isn't it?
180, 180, right,
Yeah,
Josh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's excellent to do that.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, we're looking forward to wrapping up the season and stuff like that. And thanks again for coming. And we hope to have you guys show up again.
Absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, Bubs wants to ask you something.
So you're looking around here at the studio, right? Why isn't there a dartboard against that wall there? Right, you could tape it off.
That would be. I think that'd be a great addition. Honestly.
Now you're set up at home, right?
Yeah, we play at. Well, Josh bought a grand board, which is probably one of the best dartboards out there to have at home. I think to throw on. It's just,
Yeah,
they're great.
And do you have one at home too?
Yeah, well,
or do you use his?
He hung it in my living room. So
Okay,
we throw
it's
over
his
there.
board in your house.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, then it's all about like anything. Either you're, whether you're bow hunting, playing golf, whatever sport, it's reps.
Absolutely, I think that's a huge thing too. Is repetition in the game of just you got to throw a lot of darts too.
And then at home
better.
on a winter night or on a non-competitive contest night, are you practicing?
Yeah, sometimes we think that we don't want to throw before league day. I don't know. What,
Makes sense.
But
These guys have a real sort of, what do you call it?
An approach?
Yeah, they have a system and an approach that they stick with, and you don't fuck with it.
Well, that's fine.
These guys are studied athletes.
I don't know if I would go that far.
Since you know what you're buying, what darts, what replacement stuff, you just get it online.
That's a good option, but when I'm shopping for darts, I kind of like to shop with my hands. And a lot of these places let you throw them at their boards. They have set up Total Rack over there in Waite Park. They got a board set up. You can pick out darts and throw them.
Shields Sporting Goods.
Shields has a
Oh,
good
all right.
selection too. Yeah. But there's no reason why you can get anything online. But I don't know. I just like to kind of feel them myself.
Yeah.
See what they're
Feel
gonna,
the weight.
Yep, and how they're.
And then is there a brand you're using?
I use laser darts right
Laser darts.
Yeah, those are nice.
now. Black Widows, man. They're pretty sweet.
All right, Black Widow laser darts.
He's invested a lot more in darts than I have.
And then how long have you personally been throwing in the bars?
This is just our second season this
Okay.
year, but I mean, I threw a little bit when I was younger, a punk ass,
Yep.
18, 19, 20, and then I got out of it. But then that's the last couple of seasons
No, I did it. I think I was like 22 or 3 at Gabby's bar. There was some league northeast Minneapolis.
that's still around.
Well, it's gone. Yeah, it changed. It went to Psycho Susie's, and then they got rid of country and western music, and then I went to hell.
Many such cases.
But
Yeah, Midwest Coin though. If you go to just go to their website. There's all kinds of tournaments you can look into, or I'm sure summer leagues are forming now too.
So when you started 2 years ago to right now, the curve of improvement.
Last year we were pretty terrible. This year we made a huge improvement. We
Yeah.
tied for first place last season, and then we're second place this season. That was a tough battle to get there. So we had to get a 7-0.
And there's money involved too, right, dude?
Yep.
What do you think the purse is going to be if, for second place after this next kind of leg of the season ends?
Now I think we're only pulling in like $87 for second place.
Okay, really?
But it's all determined on how many wins you get.
Sure,
So-
sure.
Wins or losses, second place. Isaac's team still kind of got us pretty good.
Well, I'm wishing you guys the best for the tournament. We're not going to probably have much of a showing, but I hope that Horny Old Men really shows up next Tuesday.
I don't know. I think Magnum XXL might make it up there.
Yeah, we'll see, brother.
Horny Old Men will be battling Magnum XXL.
Thanks for talking darts and bars with us. Really appreciate you
Thanks
coming
for having
by.
us.
Yeah, you bet.
See, I have a lot more
Thanks, guys.
follow-up questions for the next time you're on.
All
Like,
right.
what's the beer of choice? Is there a pre-beer before? Do you need 2 or 3? Can we just cover that quick?
Captain Cokes, and probably need like eight of them.
8 Captain Cokes throughout the evening.
and a couple $100 in pull tabs. That's a big thing.
Keep it under 1,000. All right.
yeah.
Keep it under 1,000.
I try to pay these guys out once in a while, and I'm hoping that I can do that again.
Yeah, last time didn't work so well.
All right, dudes. Thanks again. Great having those guys on. I'm glad they stopped by. Those guys are they're a lot of fun to play darts with, and listeners of the show, and they have a great time listening to it. So we appreciate that. Got a couple of guests today though, which is good. Big show today with Bubs being back and guests, and why don't we get let's bring Big Red in here.
Yeah, Big Red.
Yeah, it's about time we hear from him. And let's talk to him about some diesel mechanics and electric vehicle stuff.
Another young cat who's dialed in.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
knows what's up.
Yeah.
So let's bring the young fella in here. Big house. Welcome back. We're here now with a real life, real world mechanical expert, diesel mechanic known as Big Red, diesel expert.
Or Yukon Cornelius,
He's also
as Bubs calls me.
Yes, a Yukon Cornelius, as he's known too. Also a Generation Z guy and a fan of the show, so we really appreciate young people who get into the Bubs and Teabag show. So thanks, Big Red, for listening, by the way. We really like that and really appreciate it. What got you into that stuff? You been into mechanics or whatever since you were a kid or what?
I grew up around it, actually. My dad's got his own trucking company. And daycare was cheaper, or daycare was expensive. It was cheaper just to have us in the shop.
Yeah, there you
so
go,
we're
right?
sitting there and just like, oh, what's this? What's that? Figured it out, giving them tools, getting yelled at for holding the flashlight in the wrong place.
Sure.
All that stuff. I was just kind of like in high school, and I was like, I don't know what I want to do. And actually what was I? I was like a groundskeeper for a gated community.
Sure.
Actually. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. I got fired from that job because I didn't get my CDL.
Okay.
And I was like, well, what do I do with my time now? Like, I need a job. And I actually started a Freightliner dealership and worked my way up from the bottom and learned a lot. Like, went to classes and all this other stuff, became a master tech, and then I got burnt out. And I was like, I want to keep this a hobby.
Did you go to like formal schooling and stuff for it, or is it more just stuff you picked up learning from growing up in the trade and stuff like that?
I just grew up around it and learned
Yeah.
it all. Like,
Yeah.
I never went to school for it at all. And
What's-
that's what shocks people.
What's changed in the for people that are listening? First of all, a lot of them, myself included, sometimes take, I think, the trucking industry for granted. I do. You know what I mean? I definitely do.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's probably the most important piece of infrastructure that we have in our country. You don't get your goods. They come over here on a boat, some of them, or maybe they're grown here in certain spots in the country. But for the most part, if you don't have 18-wheelers and people capable of driving them, people capable of servicing them, and then people capable of sort of dispatching them and sending them from point A to point B and figuring out how to get things there efficiently, you don't have food.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah, and that's what it is, because a lot of people, like, in the U.S., it's so different than it is over in Europe. And you talk to all these guys that are in Europe, and they're like, oh, we just use trains. Like, yeah, we got semis, but it's not nearly as much as trains. We're like, when's the last time you seen a train go by your house?
Yeah, right?
And it's like, okay, well, yeah, we got a couple around here. But the main transport for everything is long-haul semi
Sure.
or short-haul semi. It's a lot of it going down the road.
You remember when the trucker strike happened in Canada? Like during COVID and stuff like that?
I do, and that messed a lot up.
Yeah.
Like, people didn't realize how bad it actually was. But
in a short amount of time too, right? I mean, a couple days and things are fucked.
like, all your supply chain is just gone. Like, you
How bad was it?
I don't know exactly how bad it was, because obviously we didn't experience it.
Sure.
But you got to think about it. All these stores get nightly shipments in.
Yeah.
And it's just like the auto worker strike that just happened. And I got friends that are dealer techs, and they're like, we can't find parts. My truck was in the shop, and they told me 6 months for a transmission. I was like, that's ridiculous.
Is that because of the strike?
Yeah. They're like, well, we can't get the parts anymore because the parts distribution centers are on strike. And they're not building new parts because all the assembly lines are on strike. But anyways, they get nightly shipments. So when you don't get those nightly shipments anymore, you don't have much supply left.
Yeah. How long do you think it would take, let's say, hypothetically, if something like that were to start kind of at like a little grassroots level where in some small segment, probably outside of some metropolitan area, a bunch of truckers decide they're just going to stop. They're going to just stop on the interstate. And then you know what? It's sort of thing becomes newsworthy. It becomes pathological. Then you get a few more truckers who decide they're going to stop on the interstate. They're not going to be trucking anymore. They're going to start setting up camp and, protesting, so to speak. How long does it take? I mean, 24 hours, that's about it, right? I mean, it doesn't take long, does it?
Realistically, only 24 hours. You got to think
Yeah.
about it. How many trucks does like Walmart get in a night to stock everything?
Boy,
A
I don't
lot.
know, but I bet several. What type of advances? I mean, here's one thing I want to know. I know a little bit about I follow a little bit about technology like Tesla. Elon Musk is apparently working on an electric semi. And I think I mean, it exists. You know, there's models of it out there. I don't know if they're being used anywhere yet.
I think
And are they being used by trucking companies?
there might be some that are going down the road as test mules,
Yeah.
but I don't know if there's like it's not available to the general public
Sure.
yet.
So he's basically saying, I've got a semi. It's electric. It will be full self-driving very soon. I don't know how they're going to deal with unloading or whatnot there, but the truck's going to drive itself, and he claims that it can pull a full trailer, a full load. I'm not sure how much that weighs, but he says he can do it 500 miles on a charge, I believe is the claim I read. And I think that was from him or some higher up at Tesla. Is that just too fantastic to be real?
I think it's too fantastic to be real, simply because we don't have the battery technology for it. Look at the range on all electric cars. People are saying like, oh, I can get, what was the most recent one? It was like a Ford Lightning that came out, and they're like, oh yeah, it's like 370 miles of range or something like that.
On one charge.
Yeah, and the Ford CEO or someone very high up at Ford took it on a road trip, and I don't remember if they're like towing a 4x8 trailer. They were towing a very small trailer with it, and he's like, I had to stop every 120 miles. Like, this is...
To charge.
Yeah.
Was it in the wintertime too?
I think it was the summer, but I can't say it was in winter or not. It was somewhere on the East Coast to about like Tennessee or something like that.
Okay.
And he's like, this just doesn't make sense. He's like, you cannot do this
Okay.
comfortably. And it's they're too susceptible to temperature changes.
Sure.
And that could just be in the battery pack temperature change. I'm not talking just ambient air temperature change. But I don't think 500 miles in a semi pulling 80,000 pounds.
No way.
No. Their self-driving stuff, that's actually pretty cool.
They're pretty close on that, I think.
Yeah.
You know, like realistically, I'm not a fanboy, but I've watched a little bit of stuff, and I mean, it looks like within maybe a year, you know, I mean, there might be some cities where I'm guessing it would start in San Francisco or somewhere in California or maybe Austin, Texas or something like that. But I think the car is more or less going to be able to drive itself from point A to point B without having any like human interaction. If it wouldn't need a human, basically, he's very close to it.
And that's what's nuts is because I was talking to one of my friends. He lives down in Midlothian, Texas, which is just south of Dallas. And they got a Model 3, I think, was self-driving. And they bought it like right when the Model 3 came out, and they bought it for self-driving because his dad's like some crazy engineer and like wants to learn this stuff. He wants to be on the front end of it. And it was super cool. Like, I show up to his house. The car's been self-driving for about 2 years at this point. It had learned all this data points. He's like, you want to go to Whataburger? I'm like, well, what is that? Because that's not up here.
Yep.
And
I heard it's good, man.
Yeah, it was great. And he's like, yeah, just watch this. Punches it in on the car. And it just goes off down the driveway, stops at their gate, knows it's got a gate, sends the signal to the gate to open. Like, he doesn't push any buttons. It goes out to the road, stops, sits there and looks, it feels like, and then goes off down the road and just drives itself. And it's like, what is going on?
No shit, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was smart enough to get us to the drive-thru and stop for us to order.
No shit.
I was like, you are kidding me. And it only took one manual input. The car actually caught itself before we caught it. And someone pulled out in front of us. My friend James hit the brakes. The car was hitting the brakes before
it was
he
already
was.
braking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you read all these crazy stories about these cars are about to get in an accident. And another one was like a Model S, I think it was, where it was going to get rear-ended on the freeway. Yeah. It saw on the camera that there's nothing in front of it, so it just accelerated as hard as it could.
Sure.
And didn't get in an accident.
No kidding.
And it's like, what?
I'm a little bit more old school. I know you listen to the show a little bit. You probably hear me bitching about a lot of things that are modern. But for some reason, I'm intrigued by full self-driving. I think that this is something that's really... I mean, it might eliminate drunk driving. You know what I mean?
It would be game-changing. It would. You
imagine like you're at a bar and just, hey, send over the stupid cab or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Where here we got a self-driving Tesla that just ferries drunks, from point A to point B or whatever.
It would be revolutionary. Like, you get rid of the chance of accident.
Yeah.
How many roadway deaths are there a year? A lot.
Yep.
And how many drunk driving accidents are there a year? A lot. You get a self-driving car in there that can sense stuff, and it reacts faster than we do. I'm interested to see how well it gets. I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah. How far off do you think we are before it's like really, where you start seeing it in Minnesota, where you you're at a stoplight, you look next to you, and there's nobody in the fucking car?
I think we're still probably a good 5 to 10 years off from that.
Yeah.
Because, I think this technology is really only in the Teslas are full autonomous. I think the new Chevys and stuff like that, they have like lane keep or a little bit of self-driving.
Yeah.
But I think Tesla's just been doing it for so long that they're so far ahead of everybody else.
Sure. We've talked a little bit about diesel and how you got started there. Talked a little bit about full electric trucking, of which you think it's still quite a ways off, mainly because the energy storage it's not there and maybe will never be there. I don't know enough about the topic myself other than to say I know in the past a lot of people have bet against Elon Musk by saying he's crazy, that this isn't going to work. With a lot of his space projects and things like that. I'm willing to give the guy the benefit of the doubt on the electric semi for a little while. If there's one thing I've learned in the last couple of years, it's that trucking is extremely, extremely vital to the nation's livelihood and infrastructure. You cannot live more than a day or so without truckers and without people that are maintaining trucks, maintaining the highways, and it's all a very delicate balance that we've had in play for many, many decades. It could be threatened any day now, and I hope it isn't. But
that's what's so crazy.
Yeah, right.
One thing can go wrong and just take it all out.
Yeah. Big Red, thanks again, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you bet, man. Take care. We'll talk to you again soon, okay?
Talk to you later.
What's great hearing from that dude. He's I like hearing from the young folks, and
You know what
he knows a lot more than me about stuff.
He has intensity,
He definitely
right?
does.
He brings it up a notch.
He's an intense man out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a hustler.
I'd work for his company though. He talks about he knows everything about Mack trucks and Freightliners and all that shit. So
And then just looking into the future of where that's going.
yeah, he knows what's up.
Yep.
So if you're listening, that's an industry to get into. Trucking is a big deal. It's always been a big deal. It always will be a big deal. And
1 week away from society
right,
collapse.
like we said earlier, you lose trucking, you lose everything within a few days.
Well, as a guy driving across the country, 14 states, I'll give you some stats. 14 states, we either stayed in, drove through, or visited people. 9,453 miles I drove.
Holy shit.
The wife.
Did you change the oil ever?
Yeah, we had to go to the dealership.
Yeah.
We have a newer car, so it's under a warranty. So, yeah, we oil changed twice.
9,000 miles in an oil change. And how many states? 9?
14.
14 states.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. You are a real family truckster having kind of a guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you were Griswolding it basically
Well,
with just the wife.
Well, I wasn't with kids and nightmares and all that shit. We did all those trips years ago.
Yeah.
No, this was enjoyable. It was
You had a great time.
a great dog that apparently has a shit fetish.
He gets excited when he's pooping now.
Well, I don't know if he did, though. We had him for 11 years, and I never knew this about him.
Yeah.
Because you take him for a walk, he waits till he gets back home.
No kidding.
Yeah, you just let him off leash and he goes. But apparently in warmer climates, he enjoys whatever. But no, it was a good trip. No incidents. The vehicle performed well.
Other than Florida, where did you spend the most time?
Tennessee, we spent 4 nights there, 5 days. Oklahoma, we were there for a few days.
Sure.
And then everything in between was just, a day here, a day there, or a drive through.
Did you have a good time in Tennessee?
Nashville is a town that I enjoy. I should never be near that town.
Yeah.
I'm a honky tonker.
Get in a lot of trouble.
Not trouble, just, going with it. Reminded me of a cleaner New Orleans without the sleaze.
No kidding.
Yeah, because it's just going. Well, we got there at about 9:30, popped the first drink at 9:45. That was me, not the wife. And then, live music, dive bar. We tried to stay out of all the big honky tonk famous ones. Like we did go to Kid Rock's because you go all the way up to the top floor.
Is that pretty cool?
It's expensive as fuck.
I think Tennessee Mike lives right by there or something.
Well, here's an interesting Tennessee. So this is a friend of yours from back in the day.
Yeah, I'll very briefly. We've mentioned Tennessee Mike on the show before. He's a friend of mine going back to like the mid to late 90s. We were members, I guess you could say, of a brotherhood, as it were. One of those things where young men get together and pledge themselves to a cause of sorts, and during the initiation process, they may even be I guess they referred to it as hazing. We met under those circumstances. Mike was a year older than me, became good friends. We lived in the same house together and have remained friends, kind of ever since, over distances. I get together with him usually. I usually see him once a year because he usually breezes up into town, but he is a born and bred Southern California playboy. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
And
bro.
This guy was the real deal.
Yeah, he was entertaining.
Hey, bro. Yeah,
You said here's a picture of him, and you sent Vanilla Ice.
yeah. He looks like Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
A handsome devil, and also kind of the life of the party type thing, and a great guy to have you show you around town.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he did show you around town.
Yeah, and it's funny. We were going to meet for lunch. I hit him up just that day and was like, "Hey, we're in town. We've already started. You want to meet for lunch? Is it convenient for you?" "Yeah, I'll be there in 30.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, hi, bro.
Hey, hang loose. And he showed up, and we had lunch at a nice barbecue joint that was good. And then he showed us about town where he likes to go and did some touristy things.
Nice.
I'm not a big touristy guy, but it was entertaining down there. Good music everywhere he went.
Yeah, he's been down there a while, and I think he knows the area very, very well. I have not been able to really spend any time with him in Tennessee.
Well, I would recommend you getting in your vehicle,
Going down
recently
there.
serviced vehicle, and go down there. And he's got, you don't have to do the touristy thing. I would recommend at least, go down there for 4 or 5 hours, unlike my wife and I, who basically did a marathon that
Yeah.
day. And then he's got areas where, locals go. Where does the bartender, like I was talking to one bartender at a dive country bar, and I was like, well, where do you like to
Where do
go?
you guys hang out?
Yeah, where do you go? Well, we hit here. No, you don't. Where do you go? And then they were nice and talked about it. So there's, go to the locals, where the locals like to go,
Yeah.
and it's cheaper.
Yeah, I agree. And I bet they got some good dive bars in and around the Nashville area.
Yeah, well, yeah. And we spent some time, because we were thinking about, maybe relocating in that area. We spent some time in Chattanooga, drove around there, checked out areas, and then outside of Nashville, probably 30, 40 minutes.
Chattanooga is kind of interesting.
It's hilly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
beautiful.
I mean, I went there one time years ago, and I saw one of the coolest things I'd ever seen in my entire life. Let's see, who was I? I was with a buddy of mine. We were at like a conference for work, a technical conference, and something to do with the Chattanooga SWAT team, and like some element of their police put on like a demonstration.
Oh, wow.
And dude, these guys did not fuck around. Couple of guys fast roped from a fucking helicopter.
Wow.
These are police.
Yeah.
It was all set up. It was like a demonstration, an act.
Choreographed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they had flashbangs going off. They fast roped down. Some guys did an explosive breach on like a concrete
Where
sort
it's all
of
kind
bunker
of
house.
Happening
Like a practice.
simultaneously.
Yeah. And then, it's supposed to be like a hostage situation or something where they explosive breach, and then, you hear some gunfire and people saying clear or whatever. And then a guy runs out the back, like a suspect, with like, I can't remember if he was holding on to like a kid or something like that or what. But then you hear these 2 shots crack off and the guy goes down, drops in the middle of the field. Like, it's probably an area of like 10 acres that you're watching this on from like a bleachers. This suspect goes down, and that's when you see from right next to the bleachers, there had been 2 dudes in ghillie suits the entire
You
time.
never knew they were
You
there.
never knew they were there.
Ah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'll always remember about Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
I saw the coolest demonstration in my entire life of
Never get in a hostage situation in
right.
Chattanooga.
I was like, wow, I've never seen a police department do anything like that in my life
wow,
before.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they got some money.
They got some money, and they have some people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, good.
Nashville, I've only really kind of just breezed through it. I do need to spend some time there, though, and I'd love to
I'm a big music guy.
hang out
and,
with Tennessee.
And I don't mind country music, good country music, and every band that was playing good old school country. Not so much a lot of the new stuff, but a lot of old stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of Waylon and Willie and Johnny and, Johnny Paycheck and everybody and Patsy Cline. That's what lured me in. The woman was belting out some Patsy Cline in a dive bar.
And doing it well?
Doing it very well.
Very nice.
And every band has a fiddle.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Like a Charlie Daniels type dude up there.
Yeah, they got a guy that can sing, a female that can sing, and there's always a fiddle.
Did you guys go out like dancing or anything like that with Mike? Or
No, it wasn't like that. We were just strictly go in place, listen to some tunes, have a bump, go to the next place,
Gotcha.
have a bump, go eat. He had a great place, kind of a taco type place called Bakersfield. Go there.
Yeah.
Good food, good food, great wait staff.
I remember back in the day, Tennessee Mike and I used to hang out at this place in Missoula, Montana, called the Missoula Club, also known as the Mo Club. And boy, did that place have some hamburgers.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I remember too, when we would have a few too many, I don't remember what the beer was back then, whatever was cheapest. It was probably PBR or something like that.
Old Milwaukee.
Might have been. When we'd have a few too many and we'd go to the Mo Club at the end of the night, I remember Mike he was that guy who would order up the pickled egg and the turkey gizzard pickled, you know, and he'd sit down, put it on a bar napkin and dig in.
Yeah, God bless you.
Dude was,
that helps the Constitution.
yeah, I guess so.
But here's a funny story about him. So never knew the guy, right? Until that day.
Yeah. Just so everyone listening, real quick, I just told Bubs, hey, I got a really close friend who's down there. You should look him up. And that's what he did. And
I did.
Yeah.
And we hit it off.
Yep.
You know, like minds, I guess. And my wife was entertained by him, and we all had great conversations everywhere we went. And we were all on the same page that day, to the point where we might end up in New Orleans in the fall at the same time for separate events.
Very nice.
And we've already agreed upon, well, we got to get together and keep this fucking crazy road show going.
Yeah.
So that may happen. We'll see. But at the end of the night, and we didn't stay out super late, but, you know, I think by 9 o'clock, 12 hours later from when we arrived, we were wrapping it up. And he walks us up to the ramp where our car was parked. And I'm like, well, where do you live exactly? And he's like, well, just basically down this road about a mile, maybe a little more. I'm like, wow. Where you parked? Oh, no, bro. I'm getting on a scooter. And there was a scooter right by the ramp, and he fucking waved his phone in front of it, fired it up, gave us a hang loose type thing, and took off.
See, he knows. He knows that, you know, that you probably can't get popped for DUI on a scooter.
No,
Right.
And he flew away at like 30 miles an hour on that fucker.
See, brah. That's Tennessee Mike, baby. Yeah. I didn't know that he had a hog. You know, that he was riding a hog like that. Mm-hmm. Good to know.
Very
man.
entertaining.
I'm gonna hit him up. I wonder if he rides with a club or anything.
I don't know. Asian scooter gang.
1%er? Yeah.
A lot of Vietnamese.
Right. I'd like to try their food. I was just with a couple of buddies the other day. You know, they actually both are listeners, and Larry gave us that nice flag that we put on here the other day, the Midwest flag.
You're darn tootin'.
Yeah, exactly.
You betcha.
These guys, I met them a couple other days at a pinball bar. And my one buddy, Joe, he's into hot stuff, you know, hot food.
Oh.
Spicy.
Okay.
And he orders something on the menu that's called, you know, it was Nashville Hot.
Yeah, we heard about that.
He was in Nashville recently, ate some Nashville Hot stuff, and in Nashville, it's hot. I mean, it's hot.
Yeah,
like
I didn't get exposed to that, but
screw you up hot.
I heard the term, but I never had any.
You know, he went to a couple different places and said, hey, I want it hot, you know, and a couple of them were like, hey, no.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're not going to give you that because there's no returns. And like, I don't know you, like that kind of thing. You
How
know,
about a sample, right? Give me a
right.
sample.
They're like, we'll hit you with the medium,
Mhm.
you know, like, or whatever their version of the medium was. And he's like, yeah, okay, fine. I'll do that. And this is a guy who went there looking for heat.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we're going to give you the medium. And he said he couldn't finish the medium because it was that hot. And
Wow.
and he said, if you're in Nashville and you're at a place that is advertising their Nashville heat chicken sandwich or whatever it is, don't take it lightly.
Yeah.
He said they're not fucking around there. And
Well, luckily that will interrupt the life cycle of pinworms in your system.
well,
And you won't have an itchy anus.
he said that the Nashville hot he had here was nothing compared to that.
Well, we
And-
are in Minnesota.
I would never do it because if I ate even the light one, now that I'm getting up there in years, I can't do it as much as I used to with this spicy shit. And if I ate that stuff, if I even ate the medium, the next day I would have my period. Let's put it that way.
I have an uncle out in California. He was a dentist. He's 87. And we were at an establishment hanging out in Orange County, bro.
Yeah, bro.
And he started eating. They had these peppers that I couldn't even smell them. They were so hot, your eyes would water.
Really?
You could feel the OC coming off them. Right?
Yeah, yeah, you could feel it.
Yeah, and he's reaching in the jar with his fingers and eating them like they're an apple.
I think that those people like train themselves somehow,
or
like,
they're just genetically, it doesn't bother them.
I still think training somehow comes
Yeah.
into it because there's a dude on YouTube, and there's a lot of these guys, but I don't watch a ton of YouTube. In his 50s, he's got a YouTube channel where he eats hot stuff. This guy, he also happens to be just, I think he has some type of hearing disability. So he's kind of like, yeah, that's how he sounds. Yep. That is exactly how he sounds on his show. Yeah, yep. That's exactly how he sounds. Yeah, Caliente. I can't remember the dude's name, but he sat down and ate a birthday cake that was coated in halves of Carolina Reaper peppers.
Well, it's because you can't hear it.
This dude, he said that he couldn't finish that one, but he said that he tells people several times, do not try this. I've been doing this for over 10 years.
Because he's deafness.
I've been doing the, yeah, like, no, his isn't that pronounced, but it was entertaining to watch this guy. And the other thing that he did, like they have that show Hot Ones where some kid interviews like celebrities and they eat hot chicken wings.
Okay.
And then they step the heat up like there's 20 wings. By the end of it, everybody's dying.
Everybody's crying.
This guy, he puts that shit to shame. First of all, he's not interviewing anyone. And secondly, he did this deal. They call it the hot chip challenge. I guess kids do it. Where you go to the store, they sell it at gas stations and shit. It's a Dorito tortilla chip that comes in a single serving pack, like an envelope that you open like, a foil envelope. And you take the chip out and then you eat it. And it's like unbearable, I guess, the heat. But it's caught on to this, sort of pop culture
So you
thing.
can get this at a Love's truck stop.
I think
or
you
something?
can get it anywhere. Yeah, like, gas station, maybe a restaurant, maybe a bar, probably like for sure like a vape shop, I'm guessing will sell them.
You don't know how many, we stopped at a lot of gas stations, road stops, right?
Yeah, they're
On
down
this
there.
trip,
Oh, they're huge down
right?
there.
There's a Buc-ee's. Have you ever heard of Buc-ee's? Gigantic.
I can't wait
I never
to go
went
there.
to one.
I can't wait to go to Buc-ee's.
We tried to look for one, but we couldn't find one on our routes. But my point is, I stood in a lot of these places, right?
Yeah.
Looking for you.
Really?
For something.
Oh, yeah. For a little something that you knew I would love.
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch the hot chip challenge in a million years. And the reason I wouldn't is because I saw this dude do it. And he took 100 of those chips, put it on a big ass restaurant tray, and made a huge, huge plate of nachos.
Oh my God!
And he spent the next hour eating it. He ate 100 of those things, and by the end of it, the dude was dripping in sweat. He could hardly communicate. Well, I mean, he couldn't do it that well before, but
he went to sign.
Now he really couldn't. Yeah. And just dripping in sweat and completely red-faced. And I remember thinking to myself, what does he do when he goes to the bathroom for the next week?
Screams.
I would guess.
Yeah, and that's something you don't want to look.
How is
Look
that
at-
fun? I
I
mean,
don't know.
maybe it is when he gets his monthly $12,000 from YouTube or whatever it is.
Is it worth it? 12 grand a month.
I don't know.
12
And
grand a
I'm
month?
guessing. I mean, who knows? Maybe it's more, but I don't think I'd be able to eat that stuff
No.
for any amount of money.
Half a chip, try it, and then realize,
I'm having a beer right now and a Danish, and it's fucking me up.
yeah. Yeah. Hey, how is your
I'm milk toast, buddy.
how is your digestive situation?
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I've
Did
gotten
you laid off the Jameson?
Yeah, that's not really in the cards anymore. Mainly just because, it doesn't agree with my stomach. I've pulled back on the reins a little bit. Unless it's a special occasion, I would probably stay away from it.
Well, you realize it's Bubs' birthday.
It is, and
It's
happy
a special
birthday!
fucking
Happy
occasion.
birthday to you.
Yeah, Pie Day.
Yeah. We've
What is
had
it? 3.14159, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I don't know how many decimals you can go to.
I think they found an end to it, but it's probably in the trillions or something.
And they don't know what it is, but they think that it exists.
I don't know. We'd have, you know who wished me a happy Pi Day today?
Ooh.
The mathlete,
No shit.
former guest.
This has got to be like an actual, probably big day for somebody like
Well,
that.
somebody that belongs to a math club, and what they do is they put on an area at her college, and they hand out pie.
Do they really?
Yep.
You know, I was wondering. I wonder if those, for them, it's like,
This is a big
you
day.
know, this is like the 4th of July or something. for them.
Basically, what I am is a religious figure to them because I was born on this day.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
And I'm familiar with like the Pythagorean theorem and how to, do FOIL.
PEMDAS?
Huh?
PEMDAS?
Yeah,
Isn't that
I know some
what it
stuff.
is?
I know some stuff.
I do not. I'm not good at math at all. We discussed this on one of our old shows, but to the mathlete, happy Pi Day, ma'am.
Yes.
We hope you're enjoying it.
Soon to graduate.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Soon she will be making much more money than us.
Yes. And that'll be good.
It'll be very good.
It'll probably be beneficial to Bubs.
Once she's
Third
rich,
person
yeah,
Bubs
right,
today.
Yeah. Once she's rich,
Bubs is enjoying a banquet.
don't forget about us, dear. All right, that's all we're saying.
Yeah, that's right. Who put you on the map?
Speaking of banquet, I noticed you did bring a couple of supplies today. You went with Coors Golden here in these nice kind of grenade bottles.
Yeah, little bumblebees, as they call them.
Yeah, these are good.
You know what I found being on the road? A lot of people, fancy, IPA, blah, blah, blah. And I just kept going back, kind of the rotation. I went with a Coors Banquet. I would go with an Old Milwaukee. Couldn't find any of those, barely any of those down south.
Bummer.
Nashville, I think there were some. But then I just went, High Life.
Yep.
A lot of places.
I'm
just
not.
High Life.
I'm not trying to make any statements with my beer anymore at this age. The cheaper, the better, in my opinion.
Guinness was always a end of the night, have a Guinness or something.
Guinness is good, but if you overdo it, the next day you have this sort of black tarry stool.
Yes, it cleans you out.
Yeah,
Mix that with some hot food, and
you're good to go.
your day is keep it local by the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, one thing we came across was called a Carolina sauce, barbecue sauce. You ever heard of that?
Yes, is that kind of like Carolina mustard? Like it's a yellow?
No. It had the hue of a sauce, but it's very watery.
Okay.
And kind of a different vibe, and that really hit the spot.
What's the heat factor?
Well, it probably depends where you're going, but this was a generic, just at the table type thing.
Right.
And boy, that was good. It's a good option. Carolina barbecue sauce.
Is that kind of like a thing they have at like every table down there type thing? Like, can I get the Carolina sauce?
My, limited experience, yes.
I noticed too that, I don't know, 3-4 months ago, McDonald's had a sauce that they were releasing for McNuggets called Mambo sauce.
Mambo number 5.
That's what I thought. I thought it was just a name for sauce, but actually it turns out that in the DC area,
Okay.
it's a big thing. Like it's a local sauce known, in DC, if you go to a restaurant where they're serving for sure wings,
You get a
and
Mambo
stuff.
option.
Yeah, there's like, hey, you want Mambo with it, and I didn't know that. So maybe down south it's like Carolina sauce
Yeah.
is like a thing.
Yeah, it is.
The other thing that I know, I've spent a little bit of time down south, especially like Huntsville, Alabama and stuff. Thing I noticed about, I was down there almost 2 months for one time, and
Roll Tide.
yeah, absolutely,
Fuck
baby.
that. I'm an Auburn guy.
Whatever,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Okay.
Down there, when you order a soda or a pop, as we call it up here, everything is a Coke
That's right.
down there.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all want some Cokes? What kind of Cokes you want, honey?
Yeah.
What kind of Coke you want, sweetie?
Dr. Pepper.
I'm going to take a Coke and I'm going to take me a Dr. Pepper.
Yep.
And they go, okay, 1 Coke, 1 Dr. Pepper. But everything is initially called a Coke. It doesn't matter if you got 2 bottles of Sprite, 3 bottles of Fanta, and a bottle of root beer. Let's see, 2, 3, and 1 is 6. You got 6 Cokes there.
Yep.
That's 6 Cokes. Which
6.
one are you going to have?
Yep.
I like Cokes.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
What is it up here? Sodas or pops?
I think it's pop.
Yeah.
I mean, most people call it pop.
I want a pop.
Yeah.
Boy, the Minnesota accent gives you away down south.
They spot it in a second,
In a
huh?
second. Where are you from? Are you from Minnesota, Wisconsin? Where are you from? Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed too.
You're darn tootin' I am.
Well, you remember years ago when you and I did our we went out to the East Coast for a tour once.
Yep.
New York City, baby.
Yeah.
With me, you, and the big cat.
That's right. In the Village.
Yeah, we were all over raising hell.
Everywhere.
Times Square, the Village.
Lower, upper.
Yeah, the dirty portions. I laid a guy out right outside the Ed Sullivan Theater.
Yeah.
Guy was panhandling very aggressively. But the thing I remember was there were people. I think my accent is a little more pronounced than yours at times.
Mm-hmm.
People wanted to hang out with us just to hear me talk.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, like the
Say
big cat brought a couple of his buddies out, like,
Say boat.
yeah, like, hey, you got to meet this fucking guy. You know, he sounds just like from Fargo, you know, and I'm like, you know, listen, I'm all for it, but I'm not going to, like, you know, ham it up. I mean, I'm not a zoo exhibit here,
Yeah.
you know.
How dare you?
Right.
Unless it's a chick.
That was a good time, though.
Yeah, it was.
You know, I remember being,
Did we go to a Yankees game?
yeah, we went to it was like within the first 2 months that new Yankee Stadium had
that's
opened.
right. Was it a Twins Yankees?
Yep.
Yeah.
Old Yankee Stadium
still
was still
standing.
across the street.
Yeah. Went to Stanley's
That's
probably.
a very interesting atmosphere for
Yeah.
games there.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of, you know, you get into the cheaper seats, man, and that's when that's where my crowd is. And they were all these Long Island dudes that were like, oh, you know, I mean, it was just like that. You know?
What I noticed, I've been to that stadium a half dozen times.
The new one? Or
Well, the
like
old and
both,
new.
Both
Seeing the
yeah.
Yankees play there, and probably 5 of those games were Twins games. It just always worked out that way.
Yeah. That's how it was that day, too.
Yeah,
I think it just so
By
happened to be.
by design, because they always play in May. But
Yeah.
what I noticed sitting around, because I go to a sporting event, I sit and watch the game,
Yes.
and there are Yankees fans. You know, yeah, they're obnoxious and they're bullshit, but the majority of the ones that I've sat next to are well versed in baseball, and it was fun to sit and talk baseball.
I remember talking to a guy and his wife next to us that they were learned.
Yeah, they're fans, and they pay attention, and they live and breathe it, and it's fun to sit with somebody that's that. You know, like for me back in the day, it was the North Stars,
Yeah.
or it was football, it was the Vikings or the Bears. You know, everything in and out. But anyway, it was fun.
Yeah.
One thing my wife and I did on this trip, we streamed while driving high school hockey tournament.
Sure.
Oh,
Sure.
missed that.
You did, yeah. The other night, you know, I was talking to the instructor actually, and he was hunkering down for the tournament
Man.
last weekend.
Yeah, I think it's Lou Nanny's last year.
I would think so. He's got to be in his early 90s, I would guess.
60 years of it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Lou Nanny.
50
For
or
those of you who
60.
don't know, he's the guy who, this kid's from Edina and he's got an amazing shot. He kind of has this weird Trump voice almost.
Sault
That was
Ste.
not a
Marie.
very good Lou Nanny impression.
Yeah, there he is right there, you know, slapping the puck around, getting it, digging it out. Yeah.
What a guy.
What a
these, these kids are something.
Yeah, I guess, you know, some people view Lou as an asshole, but, you know, he's a guy that was there when the Olympic 80 team was getting put together. He's been in and out of hockey with the North Stars, obviously, forever.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that knows the ins and outs of how hockey became big.
Yeah. And especially pro hockey in the
Pro
United
hockey,
States.
yeah. Before, you know, it's kind of like the NBA.
Why,
ABA.
why do some people think he's an asshole? Does he have a rep as just being like, hey, get away from me?
Yeah, yeah, I think he does. I think he comes across kind of that way sometimes to some people.
Like when he's not on the radio, it's just, stay away.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we are too, though. You know,
Oh, yeah, I turn it on.
as a celebrity in Princeton, I want to talk to everyone out here right now listening. Don't you dare approach me. Okay? All right? That's number one. My time is my time when I'm not on the mic. So don't approach me. And if you do approach me, call me sir. God damn it.
Yeah,
That's all I ask.
not teabag.
Yeah, no. That's
So, on my venture, I viewed this as somewhat of a crusade on this trip that we took as we snowbird. And I wore T-shirts. My wife wore Bubs and the Teabag T-shirts.
we got a couple of those with Gary's design on it with the state and the logo and stuff like that. And then we were pleasantly surprised with a Christmas gift.
Yes,
From Mama.
Yeah, and I didn't even know about it.
Right. Those are very nice. Yeah. there's-
Sneaky
yeah.
women.
I got to actually bring that one down here and put it on the wall.
I wear it. I was wearing it to beaches. I
Yeah,
wore
you
it.
were.
Yeah, I was wearing
Yeah.
it everywhere. And then Big Cat was wearing his.
Yeah.
She was wearing hers. And people would comment or say something, and then I would talk about it. Locals that I met down there that are former, maybe in fire or,
Yeah.
Just military people, and then turned them on. I say, hey, listen to the show.
Well, now that we got some new episodes coming out and getting thrown into the can here, hopefully they'll keep listening.
Yeah, and there was a guy I met down there. It was a firefighter. I think he was a firefighter in western New Jersey, but he's a Philly guy. And he got injured on the job, and he's doing other things. But he became a listener. And this guy, nonstop energy, his name's Tom, hell of a guy, and he would make a great guest.
Tom.
Nonstop energy.
Philadelphia Tom.
Yeah, Philly. We'll just call him Philly T. Other people, too, along the route. So former people that we know,
Yeah.
I stopped and visited.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Given tribute. I was given old Milwaukee's along the way.
Man, I got to go on the road one
You
of
do.
these days. And,
We got to do an on-the-road show.
collect my tithing.
You and I get in a car. We'll start with the professor down in OK. And then I talked to him last night.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I don't know if he was on something, but he was amped up. And I said, hey, you got to throw me some topics. And it got to the point where, dude, you got to send me these things because I can't even keep up with what you're fucking talking about.
Do you remember any of them?
How libertarianism is really a right. It's on the right. It's a revolutionary view from the right, not from the left. Oh, he's got the arguments.
Yeah,
He'll
I'm
back
sure he
it up.
does. I don't know if I'm not.
He's big into anarchy capitalism, and
Anarcho-capitalism is interesting.
Yeah.
Libertarianism to me is just, for me, I think it's leftists who
it's not.
want guns.
No, it's people that are from the right that argue. I mean, and it was three women. I mean, Anne Ryan was one of them. But we're talking political philosophies. We're not talking about, on the ground politics and how things run.
Right.
We're talking philosophies and ideas.
And he thinks that libertarianism is rooted in kind
the
of
right.
right-wing ideas.
Yeah, right. But it's according to him, it's a rare right revolutionary idea
Okay.
where, the right tends to be reactionary. I mean, the old, deal where the left is revolutionary.
Yes. That I would agree with 100%.
Yeah.
The people on the right will wait at this point until there's a transsexual standing over them, ready to cut
Yes.
their genitals off.
Yeah.
That's when they'll realize, hey, wait, I need to do something here.
Well-
but not until then. Leading up to it, they'll sit there and go, what's happening? I don't recognize my country anymore. I'm not sure. Sweetie, what's going on here? Are you seeing this on TV? Blah, 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 blah.
Okay, he sent me Machiavellians and Democracy. And then he sent me Aristotle, Happiness Here on Earth, Libertarian versus Liberalism. What is anarcho-capitalism? What is anarcho-communism? Anne Ryan ruins everything. The history of libertarianism. What caused the Great Depression? And then he sent me a picture of his new tattoo.
What has he got? Anything cool?
Yeah, it's on his forearm. It's pretty big. It's Sisyphus
Okay.
pushing the rock up.
Oh, yeah.
struggle of man.
I remember him showing me the early kind of stages of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, good for the professor. It sounds like he's really getting educated down there.
Well, he was telling me
Keep
that
it up, brother.
he wrote a paper. He has to write papers every week. He's in college.
Oh dear. Did they put him on a list after they read
Well,
the
he
paper?
might be on a list, but I don't know. He was writing some paper about how democracies and republics are failures, and that empires or anarchy are the only two viable options. And I go, "What are you in, a philosophy class or a political science class?" He goes, "No, this is for English comp.
Yeah, this
we
is
just
for-
have to write something."
It's for basket weaving.
Yeah. He goes, "I go at them full guns."
Well, you do you. Don't worry about what those fuckers think. They need
Well,
to read stuff
what's
like that.
refreshing is someone his age is able to think that way.
I agree. I definitely
And,
agree.
and not just some mindless drone on a phone that does whatever CNN tells him to do.
Bubs, the other day when I was pinballing with my buddies,
Yep.
we agreed that three guys from very different walks of life came into agreement and said, if you go back long enough, the educational system is responsible more or less for opening the door to a lot of the bullshit that we've got going on.
Agreed.
Right now.
Agreed.
Higher education for sure. But
Yeah.
at this point, it's now seeped into everything all the way down to kindergarten.
Well, because those people that got educated 30 years ago, 20 years ago are now in charge.
Yep.
Even
And-
the ones that got educated 10 years ago are now in charge.
And they've kind of run out of ways to outdo each other for hey, wait, my idea is actually more
Outrageous.
outrageous than yours.
Not
So
yet. I don't think they have yet.
Well, they're getting close, though.
Well, who's going to stand up, right? You got to stand up and protest and make it miserable for these legislators and these fucking senators and at the state level.
Yeah.
And crush them.
Easy to do if you have fair elections.
Well, there's that, but you can also harass and harangue and bother and protest and protest and protest.
We're not ready to do that yet, though, it seems.
This is what we have to do, is just say, fuck you, right? I watched, over the time I was gone, I watched a documentary on George Carlin, right? So George Carlin went through a few changes in his career and in his comedy and all that, and then kind of became the guy that you realized that we remember him as. But fuck it. Fuck these people. Fuck you and your fucking rules and your fucking bullshit. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to write what I want. I'm going to do what I want. And maybe people are in agreement with it. But when it comes to, there are adults who are parents that listen to a 6-year-old who says I want to be a girl. So I'm using a boy as an example. I want to be a girl.
Yeah.
Well, no, that ain't going to happen. I will look at that child right in the eyes and say, no.
In that house, though,
maybe that kid's gay.
In that house, that flies, apparently, though.
Well, but think about the parents who will then begin treatments or begin letting that child wear a dress or letting that. What is the suicide rate of trannies?
41% and climbing, I might add.
Well, I always thought it was higher back, years ago. I mean, it's such a minuscule. You and I are talking about a percent of the population that doesn't even reach a percent.
If you had 1,000 people right now, maybe one would be a legitimate transsexual.
Yeah, a legitimate, like, fucking, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
And there's another 20 of them that are under the age of 18 that think they're just trying to do what's cool.
And how are they manipulated by media?
I think the people that are under the age of 18 are probably manipulated by A, their teachers, and B, their peers, in that order.
Well, I'm going to say media as well, through that.
Completely agree, yes.
So as a parent, and if there's a parent in Minnesota or a set of parents that are fucking allowing their child to view themselves as a tranny at age 5, 6, 7, 8, even fucking 14, listen.
Their kid should be taken.
Their kid should be taken, and then that child should be given to a family of people who need a child.
Yeah.
And then guess what? If at age 18 or 19 you want to be a tranny, go be a tranny.
Yeah.
Right? You want to fuck chickens? Go fuck chickens.
I'm going to disagree and say that, don't do that. I would say don't do that. But
well,
yes,
the chicken must consent.
They might think that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You do what you want in your own house. Who cares? But if you work in schools, right? You work in the schools and you see this happening. I mean, what do you do? How do you say, hey, parental rights, I guess, are in some way absolute unless it's harming the children. And I cannot believe that some fucking mentally ill parent would advocate for their child to be surgically altered or chemically altered before age 18.
I think the woman parent might, depending on how mentally ill and woke she is, would go along with it. And the quote unquote male parent, who I guess is technically
a jar opener. I mean, what is his job?
I guess, he goes along with it. And the one thing he doesn't do
is man the fuck up.
Is look at his wife when something like that, when an idea like that comes out of her mouth.
Shut the fuck up.
He doesn't say, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That kid the next day doesn't put a dress on.
No, he's not. And maybe he's effeminate and maybe he's going to be gay or going to be something, but
that's fine. He can when he's older. Yeah. He can figure that out.
Experiment when you're 16 or 17, you're starting to be independent.
Yeah. Walk into a few bars and, get accosted and see if it's really still just for you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Which will happen.
Yeah, no shit.
It's happened to me.
Well, you used to be a sexy
when I was a young man. Yeah,
when you were tan with that muffin ass and rocket arm.
Yeah, this young man you see, the old crusty man you see now, with the handlebar mustache.
Yeah,
those days are gone, Bubs.
Mm-hmm.
The tan days, as we call them.
I'm tan as fuck right now.
You are.
I got tan ankles.
Smooth.
Oh.
Did you shave chest or anything like that?
No, I don't do that shit.
No?
I told you you referred to me as a bear. I'm a cub.
Yeah. A cub. You got anything project lined up wise, like now that you're back? I mean, what's coming up in the springtime for you? Anything good?
I'd like to sell my boat.
Okay.
It's a 1984 lawn with a 1999 Mercury big.
Yeah, you might be able to
Bigfoot.
Might be able to get a couple grand for that.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. That's all.
Trailer with it?
Trailer. And I think a 72-pound thrust trolling motor that's never been used.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, if you're listening to that and you want to not only to own a nice boat, but also a piece of celebrity history.
Yeah, I'll sign it.
Right.
Yeah.
Get a hold of us. You can DM us on X, or if you're one of our close personal friends, you can just reach out to us and get a hold of us that way.
Yeah.
But you could own a piece of celebrity history.
It's a good fishing boat for a 16-foot lund. It's good for the river and just putzing around lakes with.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
Not bad for this here vicinity.
Not a bad record for this vicinity.
Well, I have to give a shout out to a young cat,
Yeah.
20 years old, just graduated from a EOD school.
Oh, yes.
Down in Florida.
I met that gentleman.
Yeah.
He's the real deal, man.
He's an airman. He's in the Air Force. 19 years old. He was the honor grad for his class.
Congratulations to Airman.
Yeah.
To Airman Boots.
Airman boots. But
You've
he did
earned
a
it,
good
brother.
job. Yeah, EOD's no joke.
No, that's a tough nut to crack.
Yep. And he came out with flying colors at his at this level.
Congrats to the Airman. And, stay frosty, brother. You never know what's out there.
And then, unfortunately, a guy that was a mentor for me a long time ago, he was a master sergeant in the Army, Vietnam vet, spent some time in other countries in that area, got out for like 7 years and then rejoined, and he was probably like 29 or 30 and became a Ranger.
No kidding.
Yeah. And then ended up in Detachment A, which people out there can go look at.
That's a real thing. That's
Special operations
real
stuff.
deal dudes.
Yeah, Green Beret, Detachment A in the late 70s and 80s. Go look that up.
Yeah, I bet. They did some real shit.
Real shit, and he did some real shit with detachment in Vietnam, too.
No kidding.
Yeah. But he definitely helped me with some leadership stuff, and he was an influence on me and Big Cat over the years. And he passed away about a week ago.
Mm.
And
Sorry to hear
it's
that.
kind of unsung because he's one of these guys that was there for probably a 28-year plus career in the military, roughly. And, man, it's a guy whose story will never get written.
Yeah, a guy who quietly kind of went away.
Yeah. And
That's a shame.
yeah. Yeah.
Hats off to you, though, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your service.
Yes. I asked him one time, what is it? Liber the oppressor, right? Liberate the oppressed. Right?
That's their motto or something.
Yeah, for the Green Beret. I asked him, what does that mean? And he goes, that means killing fucking commies.
That's great.
Yeah.
Boy, I hope that gets embraced over the next few years.
It should.
Where it's just we say, hey, listen, that's a commie. And wait a minute, you call everything you don't like a commie? Yes, as a matter of fact, we are. That's where we're at right now.
Well, they are.
You fucking commie. Just call it commie.
Well, that Master Sergeant, Stu, we'll call him Stu, is a guy that killed commies with his fucking bare hands.
Hats off to you, Stu. Thank you for your service, sir. And
but think about that.
Rest in peace, my friend.
Yeah.
It's definitely on my radar. And I got to say, for the birthday boy here, I see that you're cracking open that Japanese whiskey that we got you for your birthday.
Yeah, it's
Can I see that bottle real quick?
Nika
Bubs?
whiskey from the barrel. And then there's a bunch of Japanese writing. I think it says Konnichiwa and
Character on
Godzilla.
there. Yeah. That looks like a good bottle of booze.
Well,
Nika whiskey from the barrel, alcohol 51.4%. That is a strong one, buddy.
Yeah, we're going to be...
I'm going to use this with kid gloves.
Well, I just poured a single finger for each of us. And I know that's how you like to start.
Absolutely. One finger. Yes.
One finger.
Very, very slowly.
Yeah, we're not. And it's been a minute since we've last fingered each other.
You sick man. I'm going to cut that.
I don't know. That's hard.
Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. We're going to have this last bump here for Bub's birthday, and then we're going to sign off. Great to catch up with everyone again. Next time we talk to you, hopefully in a few more days. Thanks,
Cheers.
Thanks, Bubs, for everything, and happy birthday, my friend.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
to Josh and Jesse and Big Red as well for showing up today and giving us some good insight and info on darts and trucking and the electric vehicle revolution. Talk to you next time, guys.
Bubs is out.